Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our June 14th live stream. And it looks like Craig is on. Hey, Craig. And Tuna Man, hello. And Jason is early. I guess
Hold
early
on.
for him.
No, sorry, man. I didn't mean to knock you on that.
Okay. And damn it, John went right to that joke.
Come on, man.
He
Hey,
just
now.
couldn't leave it alone.
Not this time.
All right. So for today's stream, as you may have read in the comments, not the comments, but the title of the stream, we'll talk about the shooting of the Minnesota state lawmakers that happened just today. I was on Twitter for quite a bit this day, since it's a Saturday and it's kind of my rest day. But yeah, I did get dragged into a lot of kind of Twitter discussions on this, and so I thought I would just keep going with it. Actually, before we start, let me just introduce the rest of the gang here. John, Blarg, and Stevo.
Howdy.
Howdy, guys.
John told us before the show started that his dad is struggling a little bit. So John, we definitely feel for you, and we're
Thank you.
all thinking about him.
I missed that, but I hope everything's going to work out for you then, buddy.
Well, just to be real quick, just so that way it doesn't take up a bunch of time, he was in the ICU for a couple days, then he leveled out. So they took a step down, put him in what's called the progressive care unit. He was good for a couple of days, and then his blood pressure and his heart rate went all completely out of whack. So he's back in the ICU, and I'm spending my time right now, kind of transporting my mom back and forth, so that way she can spend time with him in the ICU. I'm doing the best I can to kind of maintain self-care so that I'm not burning myself out. But just it's stressful right now. But he does know that you guys are rooting for him. He did tell me that to pass along that he really appreciates it. He says thank you. Yeah, right now we're all just kind of waiting to see what happens to him next. And as things update, I will let you know.
All right.
Yeah, sorry to start on such a downer, guys. That's just,
No.
I know how you feel. I've been in that situation before.
yeah. So that's what's going on.
I mean, I think I can speak for everyone here that we're all pulling for him.
Thank you.
Yeah. And how about you, Blarg? How are things going down under?
Freaking cold.
No, it's so warm. What are you talking
It's hot
about?
it's hot as hell over here. Don't complain.
Yeah, jeez.
We've had just about a whole week of overnight temperatures down in sort of the 4, 5, 6 degree range. That's centigrade. So
Nearly freezing over there. Yeah.
it's getting down close. You can get frost at 3.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, it'll be much better if you just convert to Fahrenheit. Then it'll be way warmer.
Yeah, then we'd have, what's that, 37 or something?
Yeah.
30, 40. Yeah, maybe a 40.
Hell,
yeah, hooray! That sounds much warmer.
Hey, it's at a 90 degrees high 90 degrees Fahrenheit over here in Louisiana, and as soon as I step out, I become a lobster.
Yeah. Well, that's how it usually is here, but it's a bit unusually cold for us. Certainly this early in the season too.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
So
yeah,
I wish we could get like a flat earther to come on, since we have you here.
Oh, I could find a couple.
But I mean, I think they're kind of like the MAGA and the Christians who run away from actually talking to real people because they want to hide behind their little keyboards.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, some of them are big, strong, and brave. They work at 9:00 at night. They can't talk. But they're
I
totally
have
not
no idea who
scared.
you're talking about.
No,
Yeah,
no,
who is
no,
this
no,
person?
no.
Who is this person? I'd like to know
No,
who he is.
but in the meantime, we should just go with the flow and ride along with the rest of the conversation.
Run, Florida, run.
Run!
Lord, run!
What a pathetic, broken little toy. I just
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so pathetic. You go, oh, you're all won't you won't debate me in a one-on-one video phone call. You just go, that's
I mean, these
that's a
guys
phone
are.
call.
but yeah.
I mean, the
Well,
people who.
It's not a debate.
I mean, when we do have people on, I mean, we have a civil discussion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Unless they get
Yeah.
really, really bad, right? Like
Yeah.
that one quote unquote preacher guy who just like immediately
Yeah.
just.
He's a
Yeah.
preacher to his family.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go to you, Steve-O, it looks like we might have someone from Twitter who came on. So just wanted to let you guys know. I mean, the last few weeks I've had quite a few. Oh my God, it looks like this one guy actually deleted his account, maybe.
Wow.
The SDAFS. Wow. Well, I guess I'm not sure if I need to take responsibility for that or not. I'm sure it was for other reasons. But there were quite a few people who, would have quote unquote disagreements with me. And when I say, okay, if you have that disagreement, come to my live stream, my regularly scheduled live stream. And then you can actually talk directly to me. And in fact, I have it on my bio. If you're on here because you got upset at what I posted, I'm willing to discuss it with you on my regular YouTube live stream. So having a civil discussion apparently is a little bit out of these guys. But the funniest thing is when they start like making excuses. There's this one guy with like 200 followers who said he's not going to come on because he doesn't want to quote unquote platform me. It's this guy claiming he answered every question. But him coming on is
what he's doing is
platforming
wanting
me.
to deplatform you.
Yeah, exactly. He
Oh,
wants to
yeah.
deplatform
We're going back to that. We're going back to that now, huh?
Now, if only we
Yeah.
had a trolley problem question.
No. I'm not going there.
Hey, I'm back.
All right. Hey.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to start raining here, so I think that may have knocked my computer out.
Oh.
Oh, this guy's thing didn't show up. This is the guy at the SDAF, the one that didn't show up as blue. I wonder if I just mistyped it or something. But he's only gonna go on if fat chicks gorging on Doritos get more view on here. So I don't think this channel is ever gonna get to that point. But apparently he needs an audience to actually have a discussion.
One of those types. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, my points are only valid if 100 people already agree with me and or listen to me.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing we say has any impact or a difference, or our discussion, there's no value unless more than 100 people view this video.
Sure, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
You just want the clicks.
And this person has a rule. Apparently, if I'm wrong 3 times, they stop, and I think it's a her, they stop engaging. So another kind of facile excuse just to not come on and have a discussion. You know what they say in the Bible, don't ever be willing to defend your views, right? I think Jesus said
That's true.
that.
You must hide your light under a bush.
That's right.
Run away as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Braves are Robin,
Declaring
Melody
victory.
ran away.
Waving a victory flag while
And
running.
I ran.
And then
Well,
they got on this thing about
that only applies though if you're debating a flock of seagulls.
Yes, indeed.
and this guy wanted to go on something about how I have 4 minutes to show up, as if I gave some time, timeline. In fact, most of the discussions I had were like days ago, so there wasn't some like short time span where they were required to respond, because that would be stupid to do that. But
Right.
what what I told him is this is a scheduled live stream. So that means you show up. It's not about you have to respond within a few minutes or so. But apparently that's the excuse that they're going to use, that I somehow force them to come on within a few minutes. And here's another straw man. They tend to think running away means didn't bow down to my every idiotic assertion. Yeah,
Huh?
okay. I know.
Why'd you? Well, then come on and defend
I
it. then.
have no idea where that came from. I mean, the
I'm not even sure I
reason
understand
why,
what it means.
Yeah, tell me about it.
yeah, because I mean, the reason why I challenged them to come on the live stream is to have the discussion. It's to discuss the assertion, right? Not to
Right.
bow down to it. So, or maybe they think that me challenging them is some command that people have to bow down, or otherwise it's running away. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm no, sorry. Ignore me.
No, okay, no worries. And so I did give props to this person, because most Christians, when they get to this point, they'll just block me. And here is where I think it's a woman. She does claim she's a woman, and her camera on a mission. Oh, I think she does some traveling to different places of worship. I mean, which is great. I mean,
Yeah, there's
I
nothing wrong
think it
with
would have been
that.
actually interesting to talk to someone like that. But
It would have been.
um,
Have you just say if you've been to like the Holy Land, like the Holy Land, if you know what I'm saying? And I just the fascinating of discussing about that, like what you believe in all that, and why you think that. So yeah, it would have been interesting.
well, I do get the Christians on the run. So,
That's true too. That's true.
but yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what had happened. Where I tried to get these guys to actually be willing to have a discussion. And like I said in the past, we've had some good discussions with various different people, as while they were being at least, I should say, civil to different degrees. But I think in general, when we've had people, it's been pretty good.
Oh, hey QC, I'm back on my computer. If you want to let me on as Dammit John, and I'll hop off.
Oh, okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You good?
John had to tell me, because normally I don't want him on right away. So
Leave me in the corner to mumble by myself.
Yeah, go sit in that corner. You're in timeout.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, very much so.
So the main discussion for today is about the shooting that happened, which obviously was horrible and tragic, that a couple people died. Have you guys heard or read the reviews on the news on this?
Only just a little bit. Just heard that
First I'm hearing
it was a pair
Mm-hmm.
attacked
Yeah.
and killed.
Yeah, I read the article you sent me. You sent the email out.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was the former House Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives and her husband that were killed, and state senator and his spouse that was injured.
Right. Yeah, and initially, I mean, I think the other reason why this got attention was because it being in Minnesota and Tim Walz, and since Tim Walz was the VP candidate who ran, I think that also got a little bit of attention. But
Yeah.
You know, and initially the thought was that it was a politically motivated killing. And actually, let me just give a quick rundown. So apparently, I think the senator, they had found, I can't remember which one they found first, but they went to the other one who was nearby, just to, do kind of a check to, I think they may have thought, okay, well, in case it had to do with politics, maybe they. So when they got there, they saw like a cop car, like an SUV with lights. And then they saw this person who was dressed as a policeman and apparently had a badge and everything, and the guy was impersonating as a cop, and that's how he had gotten in. And there was some shooting, and then the guy ran away, left the SUV. And within the SUV, they had found a manifesto of with other targets. And this came out a little bit later, but apparently the manifesto had lists of like abortion clinics and people who were involved in abortion, as well as other politicians, including Tim Walz and who's the state rep, or is she a senator? I can't remember her name, but prominent lawmakers there, and so I think they had kind of said, okay, this person's it's they're targeting politicians, and then they found that he had in the SUV the No King flyers. Are you guys familiar with the No King thing?
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the first time I heard it myself. I
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, and there's like lots of No King protests going on today, and in fact, even near where I live, they had that, and so because of that fire, people were just saying, oh, he's a Dem, and that these lawmakers were targeted because they had voted against the party in as some health care for immigrant bill, even though only one of the two had voted against it. They wanted to say it, but they were really desperate trying, because they didn't want it to be some MAGA right wing, right? So they were really desperate to try to kind of say, okay, no, this is you guys. This is the Dems. Dems are the ones who are violent. And then it actually turned out they did get a suspect. The suspect was this guy named Paul Boelter, and he had been appointed to some working group or something by Tim Walz, or that's what they said, and he was, but only in the sense that it was a nonpartisan group, and the guy was already appointed to that group, and so Tim Walz just reappointed him. But immediately it became, oh, it's Tim Walz's buddy, it's his friend, and he's definitely a Dem, and then they just, all the conservative accounts just kind of went with that and started going on about it. And then and then it took another turn, when they kind of realized that when they got the name, this Paul Boelter, and he was, I guess, relatively extremist Christian, definitely anti-abortion Christian, and like he was like a priest or minister for a while, and he's actually had even preached in the Congo. And there's even a video about that. I should have gotten that prepared. But yeah, it's pretty extreme. But he did seem very fundamentalist, and he's definitely was an anti-abortionist. And then later it turns out that they found, and let me see if I can get this. What do you think? What would your guess be? So it turns out that he voted for Trump.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, of
And
course,
yeah, I mean, like, what are the chances that someone who is like fundamentalist Christian, who is anti-abortion, would vote for Trump? How uncharacteristic,
That's
right?
so
That
weird.
is wow.
I mean, that is so on brand, you know. Um, but so now, you know, the MAGA are going to have to start. I don't know, making up some stuff to, you know, find excuses to say, oh no, here, let me show this. So, Minnesota assassin who shot Democratic lawmaker voted for Donald Trump. Womp womp. It might have been something to do with the fact that their deaths would have ended the Democratic majorities in both chambers. Oh, this is, I think, within the state houses.
Yeah.
Killing those, like, it's hard to see here, but the the Democrats had an edge of 34 to 33, and in the representatives it was tied. So the guy that survived was a House senator, and the woman who died was in the House of Representatives.
Yes.
So with that, the Republicans have a majority.
if they actually believed in the rule of law and believed in honesty and fairness, they would take one of their own people and sit them, pair them and sit them off to say we won't support this behaviour as a way of you can't murder your way into the into control of a house. We won't support that, but you can guarantee that's not how that's going to work.
That is true.
Yeah, I'm sure there are quite a few MAGA who are okay with this turn of events. And all I see in Twitter is when they thought it was a Dem, how they're claiming that Democrats are the ones that are violent and all that, and they keep pointing out to, how they riot and all that. Because when a group exercises their right to free speech, and if there are some criminals in there, that means that the whole entire group is violent. Because that's logical, right?
Right. Yeah.
Except if it's
guilt by
on January
association.
6th.
Of
Yeah,
course.
except when it's on January 6th, then it's crisis actors, or it was all set up, isn't it? Right? They make all those.
Deep
No, they
fakes.
were all just peaceful tourists.
Deep fakes.
Yeah, it's just deep fakes. It's just interesting how they can't seem to make up their mind about these things. X is very toxic. I can only stomach a couple hours a day. Yeah, I definitely know what Tuna Man means, and I do my best to just not, just kind of make fun of the toxic comments, and
Right back.
and just have to have a little bit of entertainment on that front. And also, recently I've been pretty busy at work and at home, so I've been less on social media. Today and yesterday I was on it a little bit more, but yeah, it's it can be entertaining, as well as it could be like it can be pretty toxic. It's like everyone there is Neppy. Yeah, and yeah, you guys know, and I posted in some of the comments on YouTube, but Neppy basically blocked me because I was tagging him on some of the comments about how stupid his posts are, about how he beat all the atheists 50 years ago, or all the atheist arguments 50 years ago. So apparently he didn't like that, so he blocked me right away.
He would do as the loudest bark.
What was really interesting was like last night, and again, this is just obviously on Twitter, but this guy, this Mississippi, whatever is, was saying that there's no such thing as murdering communists. So he had no compunctions about dehumanizing other people, calling them communists or socialists, and then if he kills them or murders them, it's not really a murder because they're not human.
Right.
That's the kind of dehumanizing of others that I think people can do in order to, without being a psychopath or a sociopath, being able to kill or being able to get themselves to the point where they can kill others. They're just able to justify something horrific. And even Christians, right? Even this guy who calls himself a Christian, and even like this guy, Paul Timpson, he's a Christian, right? Or I can't, oh, he's like a Noahide, wasn't he? Or something like that. But, basically using your religion to be able to kill other people, right? By making them not human in their eyes.
It's ridiculous.
And that's the danger of religion, that you can essentially overcome I think your internal sense of morality by rationalizing it and being able to commit acts against your fellow human beings, where without the religion, like I said, unless you are a psychopath or a sociopath, I think most people would have, a high resistance against hurting other people.
I mean,
Yeah.
you would think of
The
that.
problem is once you've turned them into not people, your ability to handle that is significantly improved. So if you're killing a good person, it's one of the reasons why in a hostage situation they try and make the person talk about their family and their name, and that's what you're trying to do so that you humanize yourself to the hostage taker, and therefore it makes it harder for them to kill you. But if you can dehumanize the person, make them into a monster, some sort of evil non-human, then you're just putting down some sort of rabid dog. It's not a person, so it's easy to do. It's just the standard playbook for fascism.
Yeah, and that's reflected in what's going on in LA as well. This whole, they're essentially dehumanizing all the people who are protesting against what ISIS is doing, and then using that as a justification to say, hey, you know what, it's okay, we can step all over the Constitution and send the military over for a police action to help the ICE raids, because these people don't deserve protection of law, right?
The question that I keep asking the conservatives that I know that are fine with suspending habeas corpus is, if you don't provide due process, how do you know that the person that you're deporting wasn't a citizen?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand the inability to logic that, right?
Yeah.
They're claiming that that you don't need due process because they are illegal.
Yes, but without due process, how do you establish that? It's such. Yeah, these are not deep thinkers. It is.
Yeah,
it is
and
rude. It is. Go ahead.
Once you take away that type of due process, then all types of due process can go away. You just go along and lock up your opponents because they committed crimes. you now don't have to prove they committed crimes. Right. You've just said they committed crimes. They don't need due process because they're criminals.
Well, yeah.
It's the same logic.
And listen to what Trump was saying about Gavin Newsom. He needs to
just
be
lock him up.
So lock him up. He needs to be locked up. Well, what crime did he commit? Well, running for governor in the first place because he's done such a bad job.
The crime of being the most popular person running on the ticket.
Right. This is preemptively trying to get your opponent out of the race.
Kind of like poisoning the well, so to speak.
Yeah. No, and this is classic cult mentality. This is classic fascist mentality. Blarg, as you were saying earlier, the MAGA movement is 100% a cult, and their ability to believe whatever El Duce says, and if you're not a part of the MAGA crowd, then you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve due process. You don't deserve rule of law. You can be locked up because, again, you're less than human.
Well, this is the reason for attacking the trans community as well, because essentially you can use the trans community to act as a wedge. Basically describe exactly the same as it was done with the with people who are gay. You describe them as, essentially the only types of people who would do that are people who do the same, are there to try and get at your children, to put it in terms that don't sort of get us into too much trouble. So therefore, that's all these people are. They're trying to sexualize children and make them into that, into their sort of sex slave sort of characters, and be able to get access to children. And that's the only reason why a man would want to dress up in a dress, so that he could go into a locker room and swing his dong around in front of children and get his jollies. Therefore, they're those type of people. So therefore, anyone who so therefore they're not human. And anyone who defends them is not human.
If you look back,
so they're the wedge.
Yeah. If you look back at the history of conservatism, it has every single time fallen on the wrong side of history, and every single time they have tried to create victims, create wedge issues, while also playing victims themselves. If you look at, it was the conservative movement that wanted to keep women from being able to have the right to vote. It was the conservative movement that wanted Jim Crow laws to continue. It was the conservative movement that wanted to be able to, it was actually that didn't want women to be able to vote, the Jim Crow laws to be able to continue for gay rights, time after time after time. It is always the conservative ideology that is there to restrict rights. It is there to dehumanize people and to and keep populations split. It is every single time. There are no counterexamples to this, where conservatives are they're always on the wrong side of history every single time. Sorry, this is
no. I just want to respond to Craig. That ability to killing someone does not just come from religion. Look at Hitler. Definitely. Religion isn't the only way to justify othering other people. I think you can even do. I'm sorry?
It is a way to do it.
Yeah, but, it is a way. Yeah. There are multiple different ways. Just like that one tweet I showed you, just calling just political ideologies, right? Oh, they're a communist, so they deserve death or whatever.
Hitler did make great use of the Bible in order to other the Jews.
That is true.
So, so it wasn't as though the Bible wasn't and Christianity wasn't a component of the Hitler playbook, and it's exactly the same as a component of the MAGA playbook.
Catherine McDavid is still going on with this idea that the lawmakers he killed voted with the Republicans, and that's why. Only one of the two that were attacked voted with the Republicans on a particular immigration health care bill. If it's the idea that both of them at one point voted with the Republicans on one bill or the other throughout, even let's say the last year, I'm sure there are a lot of other Democrats who would have done that depending on the bill. I mean, it's kind of a silly thing to say. Let me just. I mean, basically, he was. Well, yeah. I mean, we've already addressed that, Catherine. We actually showed that killing those lawmakers would have essentially given the Republicans a majority in the state Senate and the House. And also the fact that he voted for Trump, I think that also kind of
you just go. So the people who voted with the Republicans once were attacked by a Republican for doing so. That logic doesn't logic.
Yeah, exactly.
That math doesn't math.
No, it does not.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird motive to ascribe.
How desperate do you have to be to say they voted for it once? Therefore, it was Democrat bad who made the shooting happen. You just go, no.
So this guy is he's an evangelical missionary. He ran a private military in the Congo.
Really? Cool. Interesting.
Yeah. So he was appointed, or I should say he was reappointed to this council, which is supposed to be a nonpartisan council. So it wasn't going to be filled with just Democrats. And it was previously appointed by he was appointed by the previous governor, and I think reappointed by a previous governor, Mark Dayton. So I think he was originally, this was maybe the original one, where he got appointed. And also the other thing I wanted to show was, here is him giving a sermon in the Democratic Republican of Congo, because he's an appointed minister or something.
On this earth,
Il n'y a rien d'autre ici sur terre.
all the riches of this
Toutes les
world
richesses de ce monde
can fill a heart
ne peuvent pas remplir nos cœurs.
because you were made by God.
Parce que tu as été créé par Dieu.
You were made for God.
Tu as été créé pour Dieu.
Even in the heavens above,
Même dans le ciel
where
là-haut,
all the angels roam.
tous les anges là au ciel,
Some say Satan was over the head of worship.
d'autres disent que Satan était le numéro 1 de l'adoration.
He was the highest of high in the heavens,
Il était l'ange le plus élevé au ciel.
underneath God.
Je n'ai pas besoin de ça.
Was that enough?
Est-ce que ça, ce n'était pas suffisant pour lui?
Was that enough?
Est-ce que ça, c'était pas suffisant pour le diable?
I don't want to go too far in this, but I mean, he wasn't just a run-of-the-mill local Methodist minister. He was someone who seemed pretty extreme, and he was willing to take, I should say, do some extreme actions.
Now, if only Homeland Security had a department that was specifically tasked with capturing such lone wolf attackers.
Internal terrorists, right?
Yeah, but lone wolves specifically, and that department wasn't being run by a 22-year-old gardener, then, yeah, and then subsequently shut down, then, yeah, who would know what might have managed to happen? If only the American government had something to stop that.
Well, I mean, we don't even. Well, I won't go too much, but the other thing about it is, like, you know, as you might expect from a radical Christian like him, is he's not just anti-abortion. He's anti-LGBT, pro-homeschooler. He had a list of Democrats in No King's Flight because he planned to target the protests. And so he had a Facebook profile where he liked evangelical missionary organizations. He also liked the Lions Defending Freedom, a conservative legal advocate. Oh, I actually know these guys or heard of these guys. Conservative legal advocacy organization known for hardline stances against abortion and LGBTQ rights. Yeah, I think they are involved in a lot of like the legislation forming the anti-LGBT legislations. I have no idea what this means. What is this? This what? No idea. Anyway. Oops.
I think he's confused. It's a live stream, Oliver, with people talking. But you're welcome to ask questions. Maybe you're welcome to ask specific questions if you want, and we'll address them.
Yeah.
That's
whatever you like.
Question.
The shroud is cotton, you Paul. It's all cotton. The whole damn thing is cotton.
Well, no, you see, because Harry Potter used a transmogrifying spell and turned it into flax.
Yeah, and you go, oh, it's got magical invisible stitches. You go, those magical invisible stitches that nobody can reproduce because magical invisible stitches aren't a thing.
Yeah. See, Paul earlier in this conversation said, and I quote, "Harry Potter is words on a page, as is the Bible."
Did he just not contradict himself?
Oh yeah, no. So I said you're arguing either that both Harry Potter and the Bible are real, or they're both false, based on your argument. So pick a lane.
I find it really hard to understand what he's even trying to say most of the time. I have no idea if he's even a Christian.
Well,
one person tried to use a laser to make the pattern on the shroud and couldn't do it. Hey, Paul.
Well, that's all you need.
They had lasers. Honestly, you go, oh my God! Back in the when was it? 13th century when the shroud was uncovered. You can hear the air quotes in that. Yes, they used lasers to fake it, and therefore
I think his point is that hope the way it looks isn't reproducible. And he thinks like lasers are some magic where if you had laser and laser something, you should be able to reproduce anything.
Yeah. Stop pumping the frickin' laser.
Paul is a troll. I don't think he's a troll. I think he's just literally just deluded.
Yeah, that's it.
There's not much of a distinction there, really, honestly.
Well, one is being dishonest, and the other one is honestly believing they're nonsense.
Good point.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So no, Paul, I don't think you're a troll. I think you, as QC said, you're just terribly deluded.
And just terrible
want your story.
Yeah, and just terrible at making an argument.
Yeah, because you lose the arguments. Yeah, claims aren't evidence, Paul. Yeah, and one whack job anesthesiology nurse taking up archaeology and planting artifacts and taking photographs of them and misrepresenting science and lying doesn't make a proof of anything.
Yep. And by the way, Paul asked, echo chamber time, boot Paul out. Okay, well, I mean, if you insist.
Well, we can't.
So, bye-bye.
Oh, no. Now I'll never know whether or not he
there goes my source entertainment.
I told him pick a lane, and now I'll never know which lane he picked.
Well, if only he hadn't asked to be kicked out.
I don't know why, but I was trying to put him in a timeout, but I think when I do it, it like actually bans him, and because it says he was banned and the comments were removed. So I didn't mean to ban him because I don't like to
Could unban him.
ban people
Yeah,
from
you could-
this
you could-
channel
Yeah.
unless they're just
No,
really
occasionally.
horrible.
If I go along and kick someone out as the moderator, it removes all of their comments.
Oh,
Even if I only put them on timeout for 5 minutes or something, their comments are
Okay.
all removed. So, which is annoying because I'd prefer just to put them in a timeout so they can't post anymore.
I think it's an issue with StreamYard. I think if it's done in StreamYard, it does that, but I probably
No,
if you do it
I can't do
within
it
the
in
YouTube
StreamYard.
comments.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can't
okay.
do it in StreamYard because I'm not on I'm on a tablet.
Oh,
So
okay.
I only do it in the over in the tablet version of the YouTube app, and that's what happens. It removes all of the comments there as well.
Ah.
So yeah, I don't think so, Tuna, because the AXP doesn't ban anyone. If they banned people,
Yeah.
do you think they'd be tolerating some of the nut jobs that are posting in there currently?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Uh, I
And the
wondered, are they actually? Would they actually be upset because of all the posts that Florida makes, or would they actually be okay because he makes so many posts?
Well, it does help the algorithm, so
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it does.
the thing is, I think he can just turn some people off of being in the comment section.
you could. I don't know if it's possible. Honestly, I don't know if it's possible because I don't do anything like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Like, it used to be fine. So the policy was fine back, a couple of years ago, because YouTube was actually quite good at enforcing their policies. So, if you got lots of complaints about spam, you got lots of complaints about hate speech, the account would be looked at and then terminated. But they've just stopped doing it now. I haven't seen any. I've seen some horrendous comments and not seen the account even get a timeout, let alone get banned anymore. So yeah, they've just given up the ghost. So it's my opinion that AXP really does need to actually start moderating their comment section because they can't rely upon YouTube to do it anymore.
Yeah, and you'd think they could get some volunteers to do that.
Well, Ook volunteered.
Oh,
He
okay.
he specifically contacted them and say, look, honestly, you tell me what your policies are, I'll follow those, and I'm happy to volunteer my time to moderate the thing. But no, they don't moderate.
I mean, I think they could take on John as a volunteer to make so many puns that they run away
Oh yeah, that would work
from the
just
comment
fine.
section.
Just doing my bit to clear out the riffraff.
You're doing your civic duty.
Yep. The cynic in me would say that by not culling the trolls, by not moderating the comment section, it allows for people to say inflammatory things. They can continue to say that they're pro free speech and they don't curtail it. But as a byproduct, we and others, I mean, I'm just as guilty of this, respond. And thus, more engagement means that the channel gets boosted more. So, I mean, that's a bit conspiratorial, sure. I'm not saying that that's necessarily what their thinking is, but it is, an interesting byproduct of their policy of benign neglect.
Yeah, it certainly is a problem.
Although I think I've managed to get underneath Florida's skin.
I think we all have at one point.
Yeah, and I noticed that Florida is he suddenly had to run off to his 8 p.m. Central. Oh, sorry, his Eastern, isn't he?
He
I
might
know where
be
he
left.
lives.
Well,
was
if he's
in
Florida,
Florida,
if he's in Florida, then that means he's Eastern Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 9 o'clock job. Is
What's-
Eastern 1 hour in front of?
Yes.
Yep.
Is it 9? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
know
10
you
minutes
guys
to 10
have-
right now, where I am on the East Coast. But what's fascinating is that what was it last week when he was making comments after he supposedly was at work and too busy to be able to come on the live stream. And when I pointed this out, his comment and his thread mysteriously disappeared.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Run, Florida, run.
He's a coward. He's absolutely a pathetic coward.
I saw Libby do a bit of that the other day too. Ran off from got cornered by my question about what exactly was it that Jesus's death actually achieved. Be specific. And you're like, oh, actually, and then didn't achieve anything. If it's a curiosity because it's meant to be the central tenet of the religion, and she runs away from that question pretty damn hard. And just stop and think about that question, because they're saying, he defeated sin. You go, well, no, there was sin beforehand, and there was you had sin before. You had original sin, still exists now, so that didn't go away. People before him could go to heaven, and people after him could go to heaven, and people before went to hell, and people after go to hell. So what changed?
Yeah. What's the difference?
Yeah. I found
now there's an excuse for God to get cross with us.
Of course.
I really nailed that joke.
Oh, damn it, John!
By the way, why have they stopped doing the comment or the question of the week or whatever?
I don't know. Maybe got bored of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Question.
Some of them were good.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I think a lot of the nailing and the cross thing, that a lot of times that gets votes. By the way, I haven't been paying attention to the comment section. This one guy on a video from a while back about the egghead guy, where he bet $1 million or something, and so he said my content and X posts are trash. Wow, come on. But I do appreciate that he's reading my post, and also apparently watching a video that was made quite some time ago.
Thank you for the engagement.
And of course, as I mentioned, Neppy, Dr. Powers, he has blocked me. So
That's all
I
right.
feel sad.
Why would you go and hurt that man's feelings? Come on, he's such a nice
Yeah.
fellow.
Yeah,
I wanted to talk.
such a marvelous pillar of the community, millionaire doctor, lives in a trailer with his dad, about just a couple of k's up the road from where he went to jail, which is just gorgeous. I went and had a look at that. You go, oh, Dad wouldn't have had to go very far to go visit his boy in jail. It's just up the way. Yeah.
So he's anti-immigration, as you would expect. I don't know what some of these posts are, but he doesn't actually.
Illegals come here and get
post very
welfare.
much.
No, they don't. That's the thing. They pay tax, but can't get welfare, and can't get food checks, and can't get health care.
Yeah, these guys, he can't seems to post anything original. So all he does is like repost these things. So kind of pathetic. Yeah, he has really nothing, and he doesn't. definitely doesn't engage. So
There's a good question. What is a woman? Is it somebody who wears lots of eyeshadow? Like the vice president.
I mean, this is. I mean, they seem to think that's some gotcha question.
Yeah.
What is a woman? All it does is it reveals that they don't understand the difference between gender and biological sex. I mean, that's
Yeah,
really
but
all it comes down to.
it's also pure misogyny because no one's asking what is a man. No one's saying, we don't like these trans men. It's all only about the trans women. Oh, we'll save the women because they're too weak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
was actually
it's
the.
fine if a girl wants to be a man and come on in. I'll wave my wanger around and yeah, it won't offend me. Blah blah.
Yeah, so that was a comment I was going to make before I kind of steered us away from the because we're talking about the other, right? Making people the other so that they can,
Yes.
um, you know, so that they don't have to care about them, right? Your empathy can stop. And with trans, it's really easy because I think just because your sex is so ingrained in you, it's hard for you to believe that some other another person could feel differently, could feel like they are a different, or they'll say sex, right? But having a different gender. But if we just talk about gender, your gender is really ingrained in you. Especially by the time you're in high school or past puberty. It's pretty ingrained. So it seems very, very strange. And likewise, even with homosexuality, I think most heterosexual people, when they first see at least two men kissing, two women kissing, they seem perfectly fine with it. But
Well,
at
they
least when they
got
see
used to it.
exactly, and that's where I was getting
Yeah.
to. With the two men kissing, you kind of have a visceral reaction because it seems so strange. Because
Yeah.
your own sexuality,
Yeah, you just
makes
can't
it seem.
imagine doing that.
Yeah. Or if you're a closeted person and you have a reaction to seeing that, then it gets scary, right? Internally, personally, they get very scared about how their response. So it's just this kind of this. It's just this visceral reaction. And going back to the whole lesbian thing, at least within the modern society, that it's really been the I guess the lesbianism has been really normalized so that there is no gut ick reaction for I think a lot of people, lesbians and even heterosexual men and maybe even women as well, they get turned on, and now people in general being supportive of gays is because it's been normalized. That sounds bad, but just in terms of having people understand that this is not some unnatural, weird, bizarre, quote unquote sinful thing. It's a normal part of biology. It's a normal part of our society. And, getting to the point where you accept it, you can accept people who are homosexual. And, at some point, the trans are going to be accepted by society. And then the MAGA and people of that irk by that time will have to find some other group, right, that they can try to, use the
Yeah,
ick
they always do.
factor
Give
on.
them time. They'll find somebody else to other and hate.
Yeah. There's always something. And also the illegals are, quote unquote illegals, undocumented, are kind of another, it feels
Another
like.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's literally the other. I mean, because they are not part of your tribe, but the idea that because of the MAGA pushing, the idea that they are invading this country, that they think, okay, that means these are invaders. They're not part of our tribe, so you can dehumanize them, and the good one way to show that that's how they think is like when they get into an argument, say, well, what if someone came into your house and even if they're not, stealing stuff or attacking you, you wouldn't want them just like walking around in your house, right? I mean, just idiotic straw man argument.
Yeah. And also, never mind the fact that the big difference there is we create an environment that actually encourages the behavior for people to come across the border.
That's true.
Because we want them, the workforce, capitalism wants cheap labor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually needs it desperately.
Yes.
Because did you see there was a person the other day saying that these raids are attacking hard working honest farm people and the likes, and we can't have that happening. I think his name was Trump.
Oh yeah,
I know. I was gonna say that. Yeah, I mean, there's this prominent politician who talks about
Yeah.
sensitive, immigration, where farm workers and also like hotel workers,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, indeed.
you shouldn't target those people. They're hard
Yeah.
workers.
Yeah.
Especially if they're ones making your money.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, they're going to, when they like just grab any brown person off of the streets, they're going to say, do you work for a farm or a hotel? Unless you do, we're just going to deport you.
Well, see, we keep saying that we want them to have due process. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's a due process.
Absolute lunacy. Just absolute lunacy.
By the way, do you guys know Michelle Wolf?
Yeah.
I think
The
she
comedian.
did.
She's
I
the
think
redheaded who broke the what's it
the White House press.
the White House
dinner.
press dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
She broke it.
Yeah. So let me share this. And this makes me almost wish that I'm on TikTok.
Popular nowadays to say ICE is bad,
Hold on. I should start from here.
but there's no Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. It's popular nowadays to say ICE is bad, but there's no better representation of American values right now than ISIS. And as an equal opportunity employer, we accept all levels of experience and education, from low to very low, and actively welcome those with diagnosed anger issues.
I wanted to join the
How
regular
about me?
police, but they told me they wouldn't take someone who was already under arrest. Animal control said nope.
The TSA rejected me because I kept asking if there was something called Sky Jail. Is there?
And we love that. Join us today, and you too can tell your ISIS story.
ICE is waging war for everything that's holy in this country. I guess you could call it a holy war.
ISIS, guaranteeing my ticket to heaven.
Take it from me. No organization is better than ISIS.
ISIS!
Damn it! I missed my truck. My call.
That is one of the funniest things I've That's brilliant.
Fight out these thick fucks.
And this, and this, and
Quiet down, you fucks. Let's do it.
No one's waging a more holy war than ISIS. That's awesome. Oh, that gets to live in my head rent free.
It's going to. Oh my god. And I use that in the most ironic way.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, seeing things like content like that makes me think, hey, you know what? Maybe I do want to check out what's going on
Yeah,
TikTok.
like I said, I think I missed my calling there.
Definitely need to look deeper into that.
Did you hear what one of the tactics that ISIS was using in LA? They were going to kindergartens, and they were trying to pretend that they were there to do a welfare check on some kid over there trying to get them out, and it seemed like it was kind of an attempt to get the kids of immigrants so that they can essentially hold them hostage, to get the parents.
That's low.
That's gross.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine that you work for ISIS or ICE, and you're doing that.
So you're
I
saying
mean,
if ICE is your employer,
yeah,
ICE is your employer.
and
Yeah.
they tell you go to the school, get the kids, and hold them hostage, and these guys are doing it.
Shit. They must pay them very well to suppress their own consciousness.
Well, let's just say
Yeah.
once you convince somebody, first you apply the BITE model: behavior, information, thoughts, emotions. Once you've got that applied, it is then very easy to take the anger, take their frustration, take all of the negative emotions, focus it towards a created other, dehumanize that other, and psychologically you've got a hold on that person to get them to do horrible and atrocious things. This is just textbook brainwashing techniques. And because you are told over and over again that you are the good guys, you are protecting your families, your neighborhoods, your wives, your children, your mothers, your sons. You get told that over and over again. And because your brothers in arms, literally, that are next to you, also involved in that same struggle with you, that creates a sense of community. And that sense of community is how you know that you must be doing it right, because everybody around me is thinking and doing these exact same things. It is just a time-tested and proven technique for getting people to commit atrocities.
Yeah, and I like to use this GIF, this meme. If these guys are trying to take these children as hostages, they need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask themselves whether they are the baddies. So, I mean, it's funny, but it's sad,
It is.
Yeah, that show has got some just excellent stuff in it, and you find heaps of it on YouTube as well. So it's well worth watching. Brain just decided not to remember what it was called.
Yeah, now I want to know what it is.
Yeah.
It'll come to me momentarily.
Hold on. You said the skit was "Are We the Baddies?"
Yeah, Mitchell and Webb. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, they're Mitchell's the.
Craig figured it out first.
Yeah. Well, it's from his part of the world. They're English comedians.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No wonder I never heard of them yet.
Yeah, they're excellent. Mitchell also has a show called Upstart Crow, where he plays Shakespeare. I think that's a fantastically good show too. Enjoy that a lot.
I'll look at that.
Did you guys also hear that they had what's his name? Trump was at Kennedy Center.
The Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
By whom? Who specifically was in the audience booing him?
Yeah. Drag queens.
A bunch of drag queens. That's my favorite story this week.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
Yeah, they went out of their way to go in drag, just to troll him.
But also,
That made
It
me
was-
so happy.
It was a Les Miserables was the show, and I'm like, oh, the irony.
Yeah.
And then on the red carpet afterwards, when he was asked about
Yeah.
which person he liked the most.
Well, because he said he's seen it multiple times.
Yeah, that's right, multiple times. Yeah, who's I couldn't pick Milani, you pick. And you go, oh, that's a choice between the bad guy and the good guy. I can't pick who's better.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he didn't even know.
No, he
Or-
doesn't. He
Yeah, no,
definitely has no clue.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
It's like he couldn't pick between.
My theory is not that he doesn't know; it's that he doesn't want to say Javert. I think he sees Javert as the hero.
Yeah,
He might.
Probably.
Yeah, because I mean, like, he can't possibly be Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently Texas is trying to ban political memes.
It's-
Oh no, I'm
does-
never going to be able to go to Texas.
that does sound like a the lead for a. Where's the punchline now, Tuna?
I know it does seem like it, right? Wait, maybe that was a joke. Maybe that's not real.
What is it? Tom Lehrer. If any of you know who that is.
From the news, Tom Lehrer.
No, so he was a satirist back in the
okay.
back in the 60s. And he said that once Henry Kissinger got the Nobel Prize for Peace, political satire was dead. And the modern equivalent to that is every time you read the news headlines, it feels like you're reading The Onion, except it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This stuff just.
By the way, just to make comparison, here's they seem pretty well liked at the Kennedy Center.
Possibly.
Oh, yeah.
Them, not so much.
Not so much. I wonder what they could possibly be doing to the arts and to the communities that appreciate the arts that would cause them to get booed.
So the place was also packed, with MAGA, right? That they were trying to get more MAGA into there. So in the USA, what's pathetic is they think this USA chant drown out the boos, right? That's their response.
Did you?
But
you hear
so
though-
what did Trump do to the Kennedy Center that these people will be booing him?
He took over, yeah. But
I heard something
since
about that, I can't
then,
remember.
since then, sales of tickets have fallen by 50%,
Yeah.
and subscriptions have
subscription.
fallen by 84%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you go, yeah, that's good.
And again, the cynic in me would say that either intentionally or unintentionally, that is another way to suppress the arts. Is that if you don't have the money, if you don't have the backing to support it, then the artistic expression dies, and you can then come in and fill the vacuum with your supportive art movement.
By the way, they were not booing him. They were saying boo earns. I don't know. Do you guys know that from The Simpsons?
I know. I don't watch The Simpsons much anymore, so I don't remember.
Okay, Blarg, that last joke you put was pretty funny. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I like it.
Good.
Okay.
Well, this one was a good one too. Someone with nobody and no nose.
You know what?
Oh,
You know what? I'm going to start putting these on T-shirts and just
I love it. Go for it.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the response from one of the MAGA supporter is he thinks there was only 5 people booing. So apparently he lost a
Wow.
hand, and he can only count up to 5.
Wow,
So
that is a
What?
loud booers.
That is.
Yeah.
oops. Yeah, I think it's because he could only count to 5.
What's fascinating is that the Republican Party, back in Nixon's
Wait,
era,
did Jason's get post deleted? You mean this one, Jason? Or did he say something horrible?
No,
I
I
don't.
know that sometimes I try and put up a post and YouTube goes no,
Yeah.
and it fails to post. Well, I'm trying to post it through StreamYard, but it goes grey and says failed to post.
Oh, okay.
So
Censorship.
yes, a while back I tried to respond to Paul Timson saying that the Bible's full of commands to commit genocide, and YouTube didn't like that.
It might have been the word genocide.
Yeah.
Commanded to do genocide. You go, oh no, can't have that.
I think Jason was trying to say something nasty about me, and then I have my algorithm to delete it. No, Jason said Trump fired several board members and replaced him with Fox News hosts and appointed himself as chairman.
And then started screwing around with the things that are allowed to be on, allowed to be performed there or shown there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the programming went downhill a little bit because he. I mean, I can't remember which ones he didn't like, but I guess if it was like gay or something, he didn't want it because the theater is notorious for being so heterosexual.
Yes.
And I did hear at least some of the people that the performers boycotted showing up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm probably not the main players. They probably couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm certain that there's something in their contracts dealing with under what circumstances they can and cannot perform.
Of course.
Yeah. So before I'm gonna try to find it. I'll wait until I find the thing. But JD Vance had posted something like where he was making a joke with his wife about seeing Les Miserables. Shoot, I won't be able to find it. But instead, I guess I'll show or post this other thing. Oh God, I have too many tabs. So this person, Natalie Wynn, had made a comment about, it sickens me to hear Spanish spoken on the streets of Los Angeles, San Diego, Palo Alto, San Francisco, Santa Ana, etc. And you can see where she's going. And this person said, does it also sicken you that the names of those places in Los Angeles are also Spanish? You absolute right-wing ghoul. I completely can sympathize with this because I get mistaken for being right-wing when I'm trying to be sarcastic. But this person said, I figured it out by the time I got to San Francisco. Let me see. That's only a few ways in. And so I was just, that's a long way to go just for a tweet. Unless you live near San Francisco. And her response was, you must be a dad. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, I am.
Oh, there's a strange thing that just happened in the comments.
Which one?
So I made my terrible ground beef joke. Dammit John comes along with Blarg, if the cows have two legs shorter than the others, are they lean beef?
That's a good one.
Yeah, and then I've responded with my favourite. Your comment has failed to post. Apparently, my favourite is YouTube is not having a part of that. I tried it twice and it went nope. You cannot write that down. We're not having people having favourites.
Why on earth would you allow somebody to have a favorite? Come on.
What is going on?
How does that happen?
I don't know.
That
It's
is
bizarre.
weird.
Although Craig's response, what's the difference between a hormone and a vitamin? Well, you can make a vitamin.
Yeah, I have heard that one.
I remember hearing that one in camp when I was a child and just absolutely laughing myself to silliness.
What similar to that style is what's the difference between a lawyer and a catfish?
I don't know. What's the difference?
One's a bottom-dwelling mudsucker and the other one's a fish.
So my mother was a trial attorney, and of course she had a collection of lawyer jokes. Her personal favorite was what's the difference between a dead armadillo in the road and a dead lawyer in the road?
What's the difference?
Skid marks going up to the armadillo. I heard that hundreds of times as a child. And just like even now, I'll crack it to her. I cracked that joke to her the other day when we were coming back from the hospital, and it still makes her giggle every time.
Yeah, it is always fun to have jokes that they're self-referential. Yeah, used to back when I was doing physics, we enjoyed the one about why the chicken crossed the road. Well, I've got a solution for why the chicken crossed the road, but it only works for a spherical chicken in a vacuum.
Yes.
It took me a moment, but I got it.
Yeah, and you just go, that is exactly how we did everything in the physics degree. Like, that's the world we lived in. You get rid of all of the real world and to try and make, So.
Yeah, you start with an idealized structure and go from there. Of course, the thing about gravity jokes is they get a little heavy after a while. But they do have mass appeal.
Oh! I like that one.
So I did find the J.D. Vance. So he said, about to see Les Miserables with POTUS at the Kennedy Center. And meet to Usha, his wife. So what's this about? A barber who kills people? Usha. Hysterical laughter. Now, how many of you guys believe that his wife or anyone would have hysterically laughed at that joke?
I believe that he believes that it's true.
Well, I think he probably believes her every time she tells him that she came.
Yes, that is also correct.
Speaking of that, did you see the White House vampire's wife has left the White House to go work for Elon?
What?
Stephen Miller's wife.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes.
Yep.
Now this makes me think why they made up all of a sudden.
You go, interesting.
I wonder.
A man famous for stealing other people's wives.
Just impregnating them because he feels that he needs to inseminate every
keep the
woman.
birth rates high.
Well, I think he probably like feels really or thinks really highly of himself that he's some genius or whatever, and that he has to spread his seed. I think that's what he's doing. I mean, only because if I was like a multi-billionaire, that's how I would think.
Yeah, well, if you got the money, you can definitely get the winner.
I do. I loved watching those two, Musk and Trump, just go back and forth like two. They're just two messy bitches who love drama. It was just the most high school. You're not my friend anymore. No, you're not my friend anymore. Stupidity. That it made the Schadenfreude was real, and I know I'm a terrible person for admitting that.
No,
It was beautiful.
I just couldn't get enough of it.
Oh boy.
Blarg.
Yeah,
Blarg.
I was trying to do another one that it refused to let me do, and it was what's a pig's favorite karate move?
I don't know what.
The pork chop.
There it is.
Oh!
It would not let me post that.
Lame, but still funny.
I think it had the word pig.
Yeah,
Because it wouldn't let me do it with the word oinker either.
Oh well. QC, you are you do math stuff or programming stuff if memory serves?
No, I don't really do programming. Okay. I mean, I do. So one of I think the benefits of ChatGPT and like generative AI is that people can now really do programming. They just need to be able to create the right prompts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So at work, I have been kind of playing around with that just to kind of, do things that would like make like automations or stuff that might make some of the office work easier. So, but yeah, I'm not a programmer.
Okay.
But I'm technical enough to ask the right prompts.
Gotcha. No, I've got a math, somewhat coding joke that I really love telling, especially in October and December. And why do mathematicians confuse Halloween with Christmas?
Why is that?
Because Oct 31 equals Dec 25.
Oh! Brilliant.
That's one of my favorite, just super nerdy jokes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, does it actually turn out that way?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so walk through it. Oct 31. So base 8, OCT 31. Yeah. So what's 3 8s? 24. Yeah. Plus 1 is 25.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You made the joke, so you say, no, but I guess, yeah, it had to, it's a bit of a coincidence, right?
Yeah. It's one of those things where just everything lines up for the joke to work. Because you got Halloween and you got Christmas, and base 8 counting for 31, which is when Halloween is numerically the same as base 10 25. So it's just one of those weird little coincidences where math, language, and random holidays just work.
Interesting. What a coincidence.
Yep.
By the way, we were talking about Elon and Trump fighting.
Yes.
There is some talk about them kind of getting back together. I think Elon was sort of making some gestures, kind of peace gestures.
He went and deleted all of his mean tweets.
Right. Yes. So I posted this on Twitter.
Well, would you call them mean tweets, or being that he's in charge of shitter, they'd be called mean shits?
Definitely worth it, right?
memes just write themselves. The memes just write themselves.
Yes, because yeah,
I just have. I mean, this is what kind of makes it fun when I'm on Twitter, and also this is a reason why I don't like being on the YouTube comments right now. Just because you don't have the kind of the freedom to post pictures, links, etc. They really need to
You'll get
clean
yourself
that up.
banned for having that sort of stuff from Shitter. Because they're all about free speech as long as it's got enough. You're not saying anything bad about the right.
correct.
Can't have that.
Yes, free speech.
Yeah, when I
as long as
couldn't
you- as long-
find
free
this,
speech
I
as
was
long as you're talking the right way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I when I couldn't find this, I thought maybe it got deleted, but I mean, obviously my account isn't big enough to get the attention. But I wonder if like someone with the larger account posted something like that, whether it would get removed. But yeah, free speech to an extent.
Yeah, because it's always the case that they don't want free speech. They want free speech for themselves.
Yeah, I mean,
They want to be able to use the derogatory language. They want to be able to use the slurs. They want to be able to feel unhindered in their prejudice and their hatred. That's what they mean when they say free speech. And what they can't quite seem to get their head around is, first of all, no one is stopping them from saying whatever they want in their day-to-day lives. But companies are allowed to have and set standards. And so free speech is about the government curtailing.
Yeah.
As I say, Congress shall make no laws banning speech and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and also the executive branch. I mean, because it is the government actually, coming down against free speech when they send the military for protests,
Right.
or when they, grab some. I think it was a Harvard student who had written like a pro-Palestinian thing, and they just they took her just right off the street.
Yep, kick her
because
out of the country.
That. Yeah, and kicked her out of the country. And what a lot of these guys, these anti-immigrant guys, don't realize is that the constitutional protection isn't just for the citizens. Just like the laws apply to everyone in the country, not just the citizens. The Constitution applies to everyone.
No, it doesn't. Because if you're sovereign, it doesn't apply to you.
Oh, yes.
Unless you need it to.
Oh, I love watching those idiots.
Oh my gosh.
They are they're very fun. And it just gets me. They just get themselves into more trouble every single time with it. You go, I'm not driving, I'm traveling. You go, well, here you go. We're not stopping you from traveling. Walk.
What's weird is like some of their sentiments actually kind of apply now. Like when these guys, when ICE or whoever just comes and just, wants to arrest you, or like during the protest, they were arresting this CNN crew for filming, and they didn't get arrested; they got detained, but they were in like public space. And they were filming. It's like, I mean, I think a lot of the kind of sovereign citizens, talk about, well, this is a public space. You can't just ask me for ID. You can't do this and that. I mean, to that extent, they are right. You can't just have the government when you're just like doing nothing or doing nothing wrong to just come and like bother you. And I think that's a lot of the sovereign citizen thing, except they just, take it too far. Oh, I didn't know Kent Hovind was like a soft sit.
Well, he always argues that he doesn't have to follow anybody's laws. He only follows God's laws.
Oh my God.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's pretty much a country on his own.
And
Yep.
that's not dangerous,
Yeah.
right? Just to say that
His money
you're-
goes to God. It belongs to God, but he can use it
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm not. You're not.
on behalf of God.
Yeah. I'm not the one making the money. It's all going to God.
I'm just
Like
a
that
middleman.
fella, like the fella who needed an extra plane because he couldn't be on couldn't be in a regular plane with the demons.
The demons, yeah. Meaning the normal people.
Yeah,
For a giver.
that's why he needs a plane. God wants him to have a plane.
Oh, that just encapsulates that perfect.
Sir, that is not what God meant when he said he wanted you to be plain spoken.
Oh! Damn it, John.
All right, so we're gonna start wrapping up here.
On that note,
so by the way, today was the parade, the big military parade, and I guess the weather didn't quite cooperate, and I'll have to say, that's probably like the best evidence for the existence of God.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's not a good evidence,
but that's
if it had been cancelled due to lightning.
Yeah, that would have that would have been evidence of Thor.
Well, if Trump's parade had gotten rained out, he would have been pretty Thor about it.
Ooh.
By the way, this is his what happened at his at the parade. I mean, I think it was pretty good. The weather was nice. I mean, Trump's parade just really good. I mean, he wishes, right? He wishes he had this type of parade with this many tanks.
Absolutely
And I mean,
about it. This has been something that he had in the works from his first administration.
Yeah, he desperately wanted it, and everyone said no. But this time he's like, "Yeah, I'm getting it because I can pretend it's got something to do with the army."
Yeah, I mean that's basically what it kind of turned out, where he could get that
plausible.
parade. I mean, it's
just a coincidence.
Yeah,
it's Flag Day.
It's Flag Day. It's 250 years of the Army. And also
come
his
on,
birthday.
the whole parade wasn't about his parade, about his birthday, right? Definitely not about his birthday.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. They were saying happy birthday to the army, right? Not
Yes.
to Trump.
Yes. That's what they were doing. Were they?
I mean, it's just so yeah. He basically got Oh, here's another good one. So he basically, this is what happens when you get your military parade from wish.com. The top is definitely what he wants. Oh, look, according to Cassandra, Jesus is real. However, a lot of people claim to follow Jesus and do not. That's true. I mean, especially if you're someone who wants to mass deport people, take kids away from their parents, and then talk about Jesus. Yeah, they claim to follow Jesus and they do not. Jesus talked about this a lot. He talked about people who would speak in his name, but their hearts would be far from him. I think that's right as well. If you call yourself a minister and you go and shoot and kill people, yeah, I don't think you are. I don't think you're a Jesus follower. I think you're just someone who uses Jesus to justify your hatred.
Here's the irony about he talked about people who would speak in his name, being that all the people who wrote the New Testament spoke in his name, and not a single one of them ever met the guy.
That
You
is
go,
true.
the irony.
Yeah, everything was said well after the fact.
Cassandra brought a friend.
Yay.
Isn't that lovely?
Yay.
Personal
so
experience.
so
So Cassandra,
Cassandra,
did Jesus rise before you? Did you hear him speak?
I don't know why, like, I'm just wondering how Cassandra even got to this live stream. But Cassandra, just FYI, we are actually kind of at the wait, bro. You can frame revelations any way you want. That's true. You can. Yeah. So Cassandra and the commoner person and even Bemala. I invite you to come back next week. We have this stream every week. And generally, when I invite Christians, they tend to run away and they don't want to seem to actually want to have a civil discussion. And I know we're being kind of sarcastic and all that, but
Except
when
for Craig
people are
Kelly.
on, what's that?
Except for Craig Kelly. He's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot. Craig
And-
is also happens to believe in God.
And don't forget Neil.
Neil
Well,
is
he's
a
but-
pantheist.
yeah, but he's still falls more. Yeah.
Yeah. There seemed some dumping going on when I arrived.
Dumping.
What?
I think
Having
that
a-
meant like being anti-Trump, I guess.
Having a giggle at the
yeah,
orange.
I
bin.
mean, here we kind of have fun and we just talk about different things. But I mean, we're definitely willing to have this discussion with you if you want to come back on. And I mean, if you don't want to be going against multiple different people, you can go one-on-one or
Talk
whatever.
to any
but
one of us.
Yeah,
available.
I will gladly discuss with Cassandra the fact that her Christ character is fictional and was never real.
Well, no, and also,
that Matthew definitely did not write that. The book of Matthew.
yeah, I mean, I think of the four, Matthew is, I think, the worst because he tries so hard to make it seem like Jesus fulfilled some prophecies when he absolutely did not fulfill a single one. So Matthew, I think, is probably like the worst of the lot. I mean, I like John because of, kind of the Gnostic
Why, thank you.
ideas. The book of John, full of puns and dad jokes.
Yes.
The definite giveaway that Matthew is not the person of Matthew is that why would if you're writing a story about your adventures and your interactions over your life, why would you copy what someone who isn't you has said about what you said in various things? Like, that's it. Matthew is copying Mark, and Mark is saying about Matthew did these things, and then along comes the person you claim to be Matthew, who just copies it word for word off a person who wasn't him, rather than just give their own account of the events. Yeah, not.
I like some of the Christians who say that Moses wrote the Pentateuch, where it literally talks about Moses's death. But apparently,
I can break down the literal structure of the Bible easily. It's not that hard.
I think tilting is kind of getting us in trouble a little bit because, I love being an atheist because I love to sin. And if Cassandra comes and converts us, then I would have to stop sinning. I'm not sure what I'm going to do if that's the case. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, this just as this was getting interesting, we're running out of time. And even Craig Kelly had to run away. Have a good night, Craig.
Not Craig.
Or I just
see you later, Craig.
Yeah, see you later. But yeah, I
Faith is
mean,
not a religion.
it'll be interesting to
Honestly.
have that discussion. But yeah, we're at the end of our stream, so I
Next week.
then I know you don't want to mess up my sinning, but I'll have a whole week to sin before I come back and
Yeah,
get converted.
Deb will
so.
watch herself
On that note,
week.
by the way, if you have not
Yeah.
seen the movie Sinners, I absolutely recommend it. Unironically, if for no other reason than the soundtrack is amazing.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Very good.
Nice to know.
By the way, night to
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, in the comments. And Craig, if you had already left, thanks. And Cassandra, I mean, I appreciate the comments you're putting in. And like I said, we're willing to have a civil discussion, but we're just at the end of time. And Tuna, thanks for coming on. And I responded to your email. Thanks for your kind words. I appreciate it. And everyone else, even Tilting, who's trying so hard to stop me from sinning. Thank you. Thank you anyway. And thanks to the rest of the panel, Blarg, Damn it, John, and Steve-O.
Yes.
We will see you all next week, hopefully. I almost didn't make it this week because I almost had a family dinner to go to, but it got rescheduled to a family breakfast tomorrow. So luckily I was able to make it. But thank you everyone for coming on, and we will see everyone next week.
Bye, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Well, see ya.